Good morning. I'm actually live from Maui, and I'm going to see if anyone's coming on, but I have my cup of coffee because it's actually 9 a.m. here. Hey Daisha, I actually thought of you as I was driving the road to Hana. I thought, this is your dream road. You would have filmed the entire thing. I tried with one hand. Hello. Okay, hi everybody. All right, well, I'm actually over here in Hana. I came to Maui to visit my brother, and I'm having a little adventure, and it was perfect because, hello Yasmin, hello Jamie, and hi Rhonda Neb and Rebecca. Rebecca, I'm actually over here with Mike. I was with Mike. Right now I'm in Hana and enjoying my Hawaiian coffee. Okay, well, I'm gonna talk a little bit here. So yesterday was Earth Day, and I feel really blessed because I was on the road to Hana, which is so magical, and it's so windy, and I took 10 million pictures. And then this morning I was out on a big hike. It was a little bit brief, but this is where I was this morning. If you can see that beauty, glorious beach. And one of the things that I love about being on a beautiful beach like this is, okay, good, I'm glad you can hear me, is it's super healing. The energy, I think everybody thinks of Hawaii. They love to come to Hawaii because it's just so beautiful, and as you can hear, you know, I got this little rustic cabin down by the, I don't know if you can hear the ocean in the background, but certainly you can hear all the birds and the jungle, and it's just so breathtaking. But the other thing that people forget about is that the ocean itself is so healing, and then the whenever you're somewhere where there's been a volcano, so there's a lot of black sand down there, the sand has super healing properties, right? So I actually had black hands earlier today, because the mineral that is created from sand and volcanic ash, in some cases it becomes what's called a zeolite, and that has unbelievable healing properties. It can, you know, really detoxify, especially heavy metals and things like that. And so I was just thinking about, here it is, it's Earth Day and yesterday, and I'm here on this beautiful, beautiful part of the planet, and just enjoying the energy of the whole thing, and to be in the right energy, and taking in the energy. So it's taking in the sand, it's taking in the negative ions from the water, it's taking in the jungle sounds, it's taking in the jungle feeling, and just the vibration that's out here just with the trees. You know, it's fantastic. So I had, you know, I really have loved just being super quiet. It's like I'm so quiet at home, and I have to go over the ocean to get even more quiet. I was staying at a beautiful place on the ocean over in Kihei, so I walked on the beach every morning and had a really great, hi Linda, I had a really great morning hike. I did a lot of snorkeling, was down with the fishies. I've got really great long fins from my dolphin trip days, so I just, oh my god, I've been paddling up a storm, and I plan to get back to the other side of the island and probably snorkel today too. But it's just, you know, this Earth Day weekend, while I was here to enjoy my brother and his new baby, I also have been really enjoying the planet and just thinking about how much energy we get from the planet. And then I had one of the most ridiculously great things happen, and I'm going to try and find some pictures so I can back up my story. It's a miracle that this happened, and it's a miracle that it's an old miracle revisited, and I'll tell you why. I just want you to see this young girl jumping off a cliff into the waters, joyful and happy, right? I'm going to tell you a little story about that. So, that was yesterday. We had a blast. And I got to meet that young woman. And meeting that young woman is just proof of energy work, period, end of story, and I'll begin. So, on Facebook the other day, I saw that on Easter morning, a friend that I have not seen since I lived in Denver, which was in the up 2000 to 2004, around there. And then I lived in Florida, then I lived in Seattle, then I lived in LA, and now I'm visiting Hawaii. But anyway, I had seen that this friend of mine that I'd kept up with, I don't talk to her that often, maybe once a year, every other year, was also in Maui, on Maui, but also like the resort she was staying in was like next door. So I contacted her on Facebook Messenger, and while I had a lot to do with my brother and his lovely partner, Eva, and their baby, I had said, if you have time, I'd love to see you. I don't know who you're here with, what have you. So anyway, this friend is someone that when I lived in Colorado, I lived in Denver, and I would go to little towns up in the mountains and teach animal communication, like all the time. And one of these towns I went up to regularly, and it's funny because I've thought about this girl often because I think she's kind of one of the reasons I started the program, because in the winter I couldn't get to her, and I was teaching once a month in her particular town and in another town. So I'd go, I was all over Colorado. I just drove up into the mountains every weekend and teaching somebody, or every other weekend. So this gal in particular had wanted to do animal communication or something, and she was really very persistent, and so she would ask me what she could do in between when she wasn't with me. And this was really the true beginning of my program in 2001, 2002. So I'd say, why don't you take like horse massage, or why don't you take healing touch for animals? So she really got into it. And in the winter, I didn't want to drive up to the mountains unless I was going skiing with my husband then. So I didn't drive up to places as much as I would have or could have. I'm bolder now, but anyway. But if I had, maybe I wouldn't have had the ideas I had for electives and things like that for the program. So she was kind of the origin of that. And then at some point, she called me really bummed. And I said, what's the matter? And she said, my husband and I have been trying for a couple of years now to get pregnant. And I thought, oh my God, you've had the Energy Healing for Animals course. I used to call it Animal Alchemy. You've had the Energy Healing for Animals course. Why aren't you just overworking that second chakra? So I gave her this little second chakra assignment. And yeah, you're already getting the picture that girl leaping off a cliff yesterday was maybe that girl in the second chakra. But anyway, so she really, really worked the second chakra, worked it, and we checked in all the time. And eventually she got pregnant. So, hello from Michael Hofferbert from Hana. Anyway, so she worked that second chakra, got pregnant. It was a miracle. It was an absolute miracle. Her husband was an orthopedic surgeon, and he thought it was fun that his wife was taking these courses, but I don't know how into it he was. He knew that Oh, Yasmin, you have no idea. It gets so much better from here. He knew that a lot of the medically, he knew that this must have something, the second chakra work must have had something to do with, and back then I probably worked a little more with people than I do now. So he knew that medically they were not getting pregnant. He knew all the reasons why. So he knew that this was truly a miracle. And he had to kind of, I don't need credit, but he kind of had to give a little bit of credit to what she was learning with me. The baby's born. And the baby's born with a collapsed lung. And they think that she's probably not going to make it. And so, of all things, the husband says to her, call your friend. Call your friend right now, because he knew medically that that baby was probably not going to make it with the collapsed lung. He knew that he was losing it. He knew emotionally that he was just completely gone. He knew that his wife was pretty exhausted from an arduous labor. And so he said, call your friend, which was me. So now we're going to work on the heart chakra, right? Now we've got to work on the heart chakra like I've never worked on the heart chakra. It's one thing to work on the second chakra and hope that somebody gets pregnant, but when you're looking at the heart and the lungs and you're going to do some heart chakra work, we got to roll up our sleeves. So anyway, she reminded me yesterday when we were having lunch that I just woke her up out of bed at 11 p.m. and I said, you go in that ICU room and you put your hands on your baby right now, because I'm going to work on her all night long. And anyway, through the Scalar Wave, which at that point was the main, I knew tapping then, but I didn't know tapping like I know tapping. Through the Scalar Wave, we ended up, first of all, giving the baby some immunity and some strength, and then working in the lungs. And I literally, it was like a psychic surgery, creating that opening of that other lung. And so, to spend time, again, I didn't know. You don't know as a healer if something's going to work. You don't know. You give it your best, and it isn't up to me. All I can do is be support and facilitate healing, but the truth of the matter is, that's who I was with yesterday. That little baby that I'd never met before, that I not only helped the mom with her second chakra to get this little girl, and then worked with that baby in the hospital for about a week. And anyway, she rides horses, she jumps off cliffs. You'd never know there was anything ever wrong with her lungs. So she is spectacular. And I know we all got a healing from it back then, and I feel like yesterday was just epic for me to be here on Earth Day yesterday, out in a jungle with her, going to waterfalls, watching her jump off cliffs, knowing that my days of jumping off cliffs are over, even though I'm sure Rebecca remembers that I would have jumped off a cliff in a minute. But anyway, I still might jump off a cliff. I just didn't feel like taking my shoes off yesterday. But anyway, so I just thought that was an incredible, incredible story. And, I feel like energy healing is on the one hand, it can be anything from just being in the energy. Like I posted that video of me just being with my horse and how we could just go into the zone. I think of that as energy healing. I feel like just being an emotional leader is energy healing, so that helps obviously with even training in your household, and it could help in other aspects of your world, like your job or with kids or other people, but especially with our animal companions. And I also think then learning specific techniques and moving into those techniques is also clearly energy healing. And we have the energy healing for animals coming up, the home study course, and we also have the energy healing for animals as part of the intensive in the fall. So I know several people put deposits down for the fall, and also I'm sure we can get a link in here for the energy healing for animals home study course. But I'm telling you, again, we all know I love tapping. We know I love tapping, and I love teaching tapping, but I also love teaching Scalar Wave because you just can't even beat that story. And especially to be in this tropical paradise and, hearing the rain on the roof and being in that space of healing. And then, as I said, hanging out with that young girl yesterday, 15 and a half, about to start driving, who came into this world totally taxed. Yeah. So anyway, it was a very, very magical day for me, and continues to be a magical period. And like I said, down on the beach this morning, when that black sand, knowing that it's full of just really rich healing minerals, and knowing that we're pretty lucky to be here on the planet. So, I hope your day is going great. I know it's so weird to think that it's like noon at my house. It's 9 a.m. here, or it's probably 9 something. I don't know. 9:18, so it's noon 18 at my house, and it's, God, 3:18 on the East Coast. But I'll be back next week in me home with me kitties and my dogs, or my horses. Maybe we'll do something again with the horses. But it's been really fun being here with you, and I'm wondering if anybody, yeah, thank you, Michelle. It is a great story, a great heart healing story, literally. And Yasmin, I have a million pics, and yeah, yep, it's a great story. You know what though? That's so funny that you say that. So in her dream, she says one of the two dogs came to cuddle with her, and one of them got up when she moved and just sat and stared with her and didn't come back and cuddle. It's funny because I think a lot of dog trainers would tell you that dogs don't necessarily like to be cuddled. I think they do a bit, but I think it's interesting that one of them just sat there to stand guardian with you, and to hold space with you, right? So I feel like it's still this piece of protection and learning how to be without having to do something. I think that's a really beautiful dream. Let's see. When does the energy healing for animals start? Aloha, Candace. It starts May 2nd, and it goes for until July. It's some Thursday calls of tapping, and there's a ton of homework. So you get pretty good at the EFT tapping, and then it's some calls are on the Scalar Wave, and we go through the Scalar Wave for humans, the Scalar Wave for animals, and yeah, it's pretty fun. And then of course, it's great to come and have the live version, because then you're in the energy field. And it's funny because I think a lot of us do a lot of our work on the phone. That's a really important thing. We do a lot of work on the phone, and so we have this perception of what's going on when we're doing healing work, because we're safely in our little office, maybe with our coffee cup. Animals and their energy field is so important. We can sit here on the phone all day long and do healing work, but rolling your sleeves up and being in the field of energy with the animals as an animal communicator and or a healer is, it's a game changer. Sometimes just your energy field is going to change and calm an animal down. And I want to talk about that for a second, because I always say that with the Scalar Wave, the technique that I teach, I'm coming to the session with an element of calm. I'm coming to the session with an element of healing. And I've got success, if you will, in my energy fields, right? Like, I have confidence with animals. I have a certain amount of ability with animals. So I'm coming in with an emotional leadership and, like I said, a bit of just success with healing or with comforting animals in my energy field. And that is not something that you just can kind of think of. It's something you either have or you create and you build upon. So it's really important to put your time in the field, so to speak. And Cindy Turner, first of all, you will get the class. You've joined the big program. You'll get the class online in the fall, because right now you're in the animal communication. So you'll get the class in the fall. And we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. I might teach that class in Texas, so you won't miss it. I think somehow you're going to get there. Vicki Wagner says, what is tapping? So EFT tapping is emotional freedom technique tapping, and it's a form of tapping. It's a form of healing because you're tapping on acupressure points on the meridians, and each of these specific points are connected to a meridian, to an organ system, and that organ system and meridian system is connected to an emotional system. So when we tap on these specific points on us and our animals, we are learning how to calm our nervous system down and often release some of the big triggers, the emotional triggers that are happening for us around certain things. And then when we do it on the animals, it even happens that much faster. But Vicki, you would love the tapping, because if you think about somebody who wants to rehome a dog, and you brought me in, or you learned this yourself, and the dog, really it's just a simple thing. Between the EFT tapping and dog training, you could actually save some animals, keep some animals in their homes. And part of it is because the animal has their emotion about it, and the people have their emotion about it. And they aren't always the same. They are often triggered by each other. But let's say a dog has a bad habit it picked up in a shelter, it gets adopted, the person gets upset. Now the dog is anxious and does it more and more and more. So they feed off of each other. It's like a really bad biofeedback loop. And if you can stop at least the person and or the animal with the high emotion of it, then you can change the behavior. So that was a great question. Thank you. And I've got a ton of tapping videos that maybe we can put in the links here in the comments. So, and Paula says her cat just looked at me in the same way as the dog in my dream. My cat is not a cuddler with me. He's very big and showing me boundaries in his life, and that he's holding space for you and protecting you from afar. I love that. Okay, even if it doesn't look like that. Okay. Well, this has been really fun. I've got more adventure to have. Melanie asked about the communication class started last week, but you've only missed one. If you want to get in the class, you could listen to that recording and get caught up. We have an 11 a.m. and a 5 p.m. class. I would suggest you connect with assist@joanranquet.com so that they can get you all set up, because I'm going to be driving back on that crazy road from Hana today. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Vicki, you can't believe what could happen for you. I have a whole initiative of getting this into shelters. I've got probably 15 students helping me on this, so this is like one of my big goals. And your rescue would be a perfect. And go ahead and put your rescue in there, Eloise Rescue, so that people know who you are. You know, we could have some ideas. I have some ideas for you, Vicky. Okay, anyway. There's something with a video camera in your future and EFT tapping, I can promise you. All right, I hope everybody is having a great day, and thank you for joining me, and I'll see you, EloiseRescue.org. Yes, and she's got cute dogs. Okay, really super cute dogs. All right, thank you guys. Bye.